Okay. Good afternoon again. Domiti, Baptiste, Leandre, Daria, are you okay online?
Yes, I'm online.
Yes, normally I can hear you. Do you hear me?
Yes, great.
Hi.
And
Yes.
Baptiste, Chrysostome, Leandre, yes, okay.
Yes, hello.
Okay, so good afternoon. We will do this presentation in English as the program is mainly led in English. And after the presentation, we will take questions either in French or in English as you prefer, in the chat or directly through the Teams with the audio as you prefer. My name is Colette Deper. I'm an associate professor in Dauphine in management, and I'm in charge of this master's program together with my colleague Daria, who is already online, who is also online.
Yes,
Daria?
hello.
Yeah.
Welcome to our meeting. I'm Daria Richter-Wiedoff, and I'm a fashion designer and responsible for the pedagogical questions and as well teacher in a moment.
And Leandre, Baptiste, if you can just present yourself, please.
I am currently in Master 2 in apprenticeship, and I have a background as a chemical engineer.
Hello, I'm also in Master 2 at NMOMA, and I have a background in international economics.
And Domiti.
So hi everyone, I'm Domiti. I'm in charge of the administrative part of the master, so I'm in Dauphine University to do this part of the job.
Okay, so I will start with a few words about ENAMOMA, that is the partnership, the program in partnership that is organizing this degree. So it's a partnership between Dauphine Université and École des Arts Décoratifs and Mines Paris, so 3 schools of PSL University to join design, management, and engineering in a program to address the challenges of the fashion industry regarding ecological and social and technological transition in the field. We are spread around Paris, with our main room that is located not so far from École des Arts Décoratifs, where we have our main workshop and space for some courses and group work. And our students get to go also to École des Arts Décoratifs, especially for some workshops that are available there. There are also some courses that are held in Dauphine at the beginning of the year and also throughout the year. And occasionally, the students also get to go to the campus of Mines Paris. So we get to travel a little bit within Paris and try to have the same location for a full day. So that everything is easy, but at the same time, the students get to enjoy all the infrastructure that we can benefit from thanks to PSL University. That program was created 8 years ago to create a space where we could meet to think about the transformation of the fashion and textile industry. Where students, researchers, professionals, artists get to meet and think and learn together. We approach creativity all along the value chain and not only the studio where clothes are designed, but really approach creativity from the field, from where the cotton is grown to the industry where it is transformed, the studio where it is used to create some fantastic designs, and also places where, for example, it is recycled for further use. So creativity all along that chain. And one important element as well is interdisciplinarity, so that we can think and learn together, something that is very important for the ecological transition. And we get to collaborate, as I mentioned, between researchers, teachers, professionals, For example, we have some projects where we do work in partnership with some organization so that the students get to work on real issues, real challenges, real projects, and get to discuss and make proposal for those partner organizations. A few words about how the degree is organized. So this is a master's degree, so in 2 years. It is organized over 6 blocks to get the master's degree. We have a first block dedicated to fundamentals. That is very important. It's 4 weeks dedicated to basics in fashion, design, materials, business basics in cultural and creative industries. And those 4 weeks are really important to start up the collective dynamics and the interdisciplinary orientation of the degree. Then we have a block for the understanding of responsible ecosystems over the first semester. One block more dedicated to various methodologies, research by practice, business model propositions, research methodologies to develop personal projects. We have a block dedicated to a collaborative project, the one I was just mentioning with partner organizations. Professional experience as well is valued and important over the degree. And an important block for some of the students, that is the creative projects with a tutor project over 6 months to develop a creative proposition. So along those 6 blocks, we have several formats that we use for students to be able to learn progressively. Well, first we have some traditional courses all over the 2 years, for example, courses about sustainability or for the knowledge of textiles or business models. So that's one format, traditional format that we use. Another format that is important is the format of a workshop, intensive workshops over a few days or a full week. It can be for example, a business game when we start the year, or we have also some very important workshops spread throughout the year. And I'm going to let my colleague Daria detail a few examples, and our students as well perhaps comment on their experience of those workshops this year. Daria, are you connected?
Hello, I'm very sorry.
We can hear
not
you.
in a, yes, I'm sorry, I'm not in a fixed place. That's why it's a little complicated. Yes, I talked to you about our workshops, which is very important to us, is to understand the whole supply chain, as Colette already mentioned, and that's why we look as well as at the nature, at what is going on in the earth, where the raw material are coming from. And here is an example from our workshop we did about mycelium. This was about really experience to design with living. What can we think about to what it could be useful, and how this knowledge about earth and plants and growing can change our minds towards a more sustainable practice.
Second workshop, and
this is another workshop about it is more about the power of styling, and all the workshops we do, they are always based on theory, and then we try to improve the theory through praxis and through exercises, and then we go back to the theory. Imagine there is a lot of garments everywhere, so students brought all kinds of different garments, and we were trying to somehow understand, interpret garments in all kinds of different ways. We had a very clear schedule to follow, And it is as well to discover garments in all variations, and to connect with knowledge, with historical knowledge, with practical knowledge, with somehow understanding how we can appreciate garments to last longer and to use it in various ways. At the end of this workshop, there was a little, as well, an exercise to think about how can we envision communities, and how can students, or how students feel about representing communities. And yes, maybe Leander, or you can maybe, or Baptiste, you can say something about that.
Yes, of course, or Baptiste, why not? No, about this workshop, so coming from a not really textile or creative backgrounds, this exercise was pretty new for me, but still accessible. Like everyone is open to do it, and it was interesting to see the influence that everyone could bring, the different type of clothes, the different way of seeing things, the way of considering the way you dress. So I would consider myself, not personally, as someone really fancy or fashionable, but it was interesting to start to grow style and get some insight for other. Get out of your comfort zone by dressing up differently also, and try to envision how and why people are dressing that way or not. That's what I could say. That's what I could say about this workshop. I don't know if Baptiste had anything to say, or maybe about the mycelium thing too. Baptiste, I give you the floor.
Yes. So about this workshop, I think an important thing is the fact that we made the groups according to everyone's background, and we were mixed engineering students, business students, and creative students together. And I think that really created an interesting space for us to work together and to try to bring our own influences and our own creative processes in a way that really makes everyone shine. And yeah, the collaboration was really the best part of this workshop.
Thank you for these elements. So these workshops are really an important moment over the year for that collective dynamic and learning from each other through the disciplines. Then another format that we have are more expert seminars. So we have a lot of experts that come for usually 3 hours. And so the students will get to meet a lot of experts over the year. It can be academic experts, professional experts from very different fields, and they will come to share their insights, perspectives, questions in relation to very different questions. It can be related to the waste design, intellectual property, logistics, the sustainability of fibers, different solutions for recycling. And this is just some examples of the different types of themes that they come discuss with the students all over the year. And then we have another format that is important, that are the tutored projects, because everyone comes in this degree with its expertise. The students have been trained already in fashion design, textile design, business, engineering, very different backgrounds. And through the degree, they reinforce their expertise and make it evolve through a project that they decide to work on. And so they elaborate that project progressively through a pre-project and then a more final personal project. For some, it's more a research exploratory project. For others, it would be a creative project. And there is also an important moment that is more this group project I was talking about, working with an organization. So through these projects, there is really the development for everyone of a personal expertise, and also a professionalization to know how to present and exhibit and address your work to an audience, to make it an input, a contribution for the conversation and for the evolution practices in the industry. So my colleague is going to give you now some examples of a few creative projects and research projects that have been developed in the past year.
Yes, so as Colette said, these are the profiles which come more from the creative background. Here is an example of a student who comes from Israel and has as well Ukrainian background. And so when he started to be with us, it was before the war, before the two wars, and then the wars were coming up. And of course, it had a major influence about his work, because he was thinking about memories and how can memories and garments be integrated in our everyday life, and how can we somehow be sensible and attentive to memories in garments. And so he would work with existing garments and existing fabrics, and at the same time he really wished to celebrate life as an important energy for all of us. So this was a combination in his project. And he made a collection with about 4 outfits. And all the students have, for the presentation, will think about scenography and present then all the depth and research of the project. This is another student. She comes from a textile background. And for her, it was very important to integrate as well a social aspect to her work. So she was thinking about the knot as something to link people. And she especially thought a knot is something everybody can know somehow. And she made an atelier with old women and trying to learn them and make them with them knots. And then she used the knots to create patterns for printing, for all kind of different use. And then she made a card game out of these knots, out of the patterns printed on cards, to give back to these old ladies a card game. And then she was thinking about as well ancient techniques about using the knots to create shoes, because as well when you do something with a thread, you can as well undo it. And it was in the idea of somehow thinking about the end of the life of an accessory, and that you could entirely undo it. So you see here some explorations as well with artificial intelligence, and in contrast to somehow kind of ancient ways of doing shoes. And here are 3 other projects. One was more about thinking about the kitchen closet, thinking about kitchen utensils which are not anymore really used, which somehow talk about practice in our houses or in our traditions. And she wants to valorize these traditions. And so she transformed all these utensils to new accessories. And this was more a research project. It was not really to sell then these pieces, but to somehow push ideas further, and as well integrate traditions in it. And in the middle we see a glove with sequins which are made out of bioplastic and leaves from flowers. And this is the project from Emily Den. She was an apprenticeship in parallel at the 19M, and she really saw how much embellishments are still used, made out of plastic, and she tried to find new solutions for more sustainable embellishments and sequins. And on the right, we have a project linked to our being a modern businesswoman, working in an office, working on computer, and in the same time being very sportive. So yet Mackenzie, she tried to combine our kind of a sportive everyday working outfit combined with a hiking or bicycling outfit. This was a collection of modular garments. She was very much interested in finding materials, sustainable materials with technical solutions for this project. And here I show you some of the work done by students which are not from the creative background, but they are on the explorative track. And here you see the three kind of dissertations. We call them research projects. And the first one was about, how can you buy less and choose well, and being as well how you can educate people to be more aware of their way of shopping and buying things and choosing things, and being as well more aware. And they did interviews about all these people you see here down in on the cover, to understand as well the practice of different people, and then analyze how can we help the whole society to drive towards a more sustainable way of living. And then in the middle, it was work from Arnaud about mending. How can mending be seen as something? Mending is like repairing, and how can the repairing become something maybe political, or maybe just beautiful, maybe just artistic, maybe just unseen. So all kind of different ways of mending in our world, which needs that we care more about existing things and about repairing, which is as well a huge question for all the fashion houses to offer this service. So he was thinking about all different ways and thoughts in this field. And on the right, you see Alexandre Renier. He was he's more like he has well an expertise in history, and especially about fashion exhibition. And he wanted to study how can we give a place to more movement in exhibitions. So because as exhibitions are very important and have more and more are part of important soft power internationally and nationally. And in his study, he was thinking about as well when you can bring more movement into this museum, maybe it moves people as well in their minds and thoughts. And this was about what he tried to find out in his work.
Yeah, so different kinds of projects, and another elements that is important in our degree are the different also opportunities that we offer over the year to engage with our local ecosystem. We have some meetings with a collective of experts 3 times a year, where the students organize a debate with them. We also have 5 days of visits spread throughout the year. It's very important for us to really get to go on the field, to get to visit factories, agricultural sites, also do some cultural visits to really engage with that local ecosystem around us that is very important to understand the transformation of the practices and the creativity all along the value chain. And thanks to PSL as well, we have a very stimulating environment. So the students can follow if they want some additional courses, some French courses as well for international students. There are different opportunities as well for entrepreneurship, especially with PSL, PEPIT, and other structures around entrepreneurship in Dauphine and PSL. One moment that is very key for us is our exhibition at the end of the year. It's really a moment where we all get to meet and to present and to discuss all the work. And it's also a warm moment for all the students. And it's also a moment where we welcome all the new students. And I will let Daria tell you a few words about this exhibition.
Yeah, the exhibition is always the very important final of our year, and it gives as well kind of a mirror of all the thoughts and reflections we had during the year, and what the students were choosing as their research projects. So we have meetings beforehand where we try to find a title. Last year we had turbulences, as something because last year was quite turbulent, and we wonder how this year we're going to be because it doesn't look that much calmer, but we will see. And so just to tell you, it is a really common reflection. And you see on the right and the left, these are two creative projects, but you can see there are frames in the back, and we have a system, a sustainable system, modular system for our exhibition, which we developed several years ago, which we use again and again, and which allows us and each student to really show, on one hand, the research, the thoughts, the images, and as well the objects. And we expose together all the M1 and M2 students. And it is always a great moment to get to know our master. And it is as well a very important moment for our partners who really understand more and more about what our master is all about.
Now a few words about the different formats to follow the degree. We have a track that is reserved for students with a fashion or textile design background, and they can enter in the master one, and then they will follow all the blocks over the 2 years. So that's what we call the creation track. So for that track, you need to have a bachelor's degree in fashion design or textile design, or we also sometimes have some students with quite a hybrid background, sometimes with background in object design, but with practice in fashion, and then they can fit with the prerequisites. But for those students, there's really a need to have an expertise with design practice in relation to fashion and textile. That track can be followed in full-time study, or there's also the opportunity to follow it in apprenticeship. And in that case, the professional experience, instead of being an internship of minimum 5 months, it becomes an apprenticeship over 2 years during the M1 and M2. Or for some students, sometimes they decide to follow the first year in full-time study, and then they will have an apprenticeship for the second year. That's a very nice opportunity to have a long-term experience in a company. And that opportunity to follow the degree is also offered to students who enter the program directly in M2. And these are students with really diverse profiles. So for that, you need to have a Master 1 level in business, engineering, design as well, any field in design. And then you can enter directly in the Master 2 and follow the program in 1 year, either in full-time study or apprenticeship. And then we have here 2 tracks that are possible depending on on which blocks you are going to follow. The first semester is exactly the same, and then the second semester will depend on whether you want to focus on a creative project, meaning with the creative project there is no more courses. It's mainly tutoring, interdisciplinary tutoring to accompany you on a personal creative project. While on the other track, the explorations track that is followed by most of the students, you keep having some seminars and courses, some methodology courses to help you develop your ability to lead exploration projects, and there is that also important collaborative project over three months. Perhaps Leandre, you can say a few words about how you look for your apprenticeship as you are doing this track, and Baptiste as well after, if you can detail, as you are not in apprenticeship, you are doing more this, oops, it doesn't work, yes. The other option that is, well, you are in full-time study, you don't have an apprenticeship, you can do an internship if you want, but you don't have to. And this means that you have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday where you are free because you are not in a company. And so you can use that time as you want. And there are very different options depending on the students. So perhaps I'll let you both discuss this apprenticeship or full-time study option.
Yes, of course. So in my case, I couldn't mention I'm in apprenticeship. I have a engineering background as a chemical engineer, as I already said. So I entered the master directly in M2, following the path on the left, so the exploration track. And for me, the master was an opportunity to get back to work, or at least have a professional experience in a field where that was not really, let's say, my initial education. So technically speaking, let's say I applied to the master like right now because the registration is open. I guess it's going to be mentioned at the end of the presentation. And as soon as I knew I was taken, meaning at the beginning of April, I started looking for something. I'm not gonna lie that was not easy, especially coming from another background. I specifically wanted to try to work in innovation, research, development, in a creative industry, and that's why I ended up doing. Because I'm working in innovation at Louis Vuitton right now, working on circular economy aspects, trying to recycle the scraps and trying to do new materials that the house can reuse then afterwards. So on a more technical aspect, let's say. It's quite demanding, let's say, regarding classes and the work, but in the end, you manage to find a balance, and everything is made for you to get you at the right place and do what you have to do, whether you be in apprenticeship in your company or at school. So you are well managed. I don't know about Baptiste. Maybe you can share about insight about how you leave the master. The way you live it.
Yes. So I'm also doing the same track, the exploration one. But as Colette said, I don't have an apprenticeship. And for me, it was more a result of my background because I did a first year of master in Dauphine. And then I took a gap year and I worked for the whole year. And this time I really wanted to focus on my study. And I wanted to enjoy the free time that is given at ENAMOMA to also focus on my personal projects, to gain more sewing skills, like technical skills. And yeah, as Colette said, if you're not in apprenticeship, you can also take other classes at PSL. For instance, there is a fashion history class on Tuesdays that you can follow. And it was very interesting for me because I don't have a fashion background. So if you're not in apprenticeship, there's always something you can do. We have an atelier you can work at. I also do babysitting on the side. So in the end, you're still really like you're not by yourself. There is all the classes you can attend. There is all the projects you can follow. So I think both options really depend on if you have already professional experience and also what kind of experience you want to have at ENAMOMA. And yeah, that's it.
Yes, and we have some students during that time that also do some freelance. Some will get to work on their entrepreneurial projects as well. And as you were mentioning, Baptiste, when you were doing some sewing, we have also a technician at ENAMOMA Atelier that is there and that can help students in their work. Being the creative students with a fashion and textile background, but also other students who want to develop their own practice. So she is there for everyone, and that free time outside of the the Thursday and Friday can be really precious for that. So two tracks, and each track can be followed either full-time study or apprenticeship. So when you apply to the degree, we ask you to apply to a track and also to apply to a format, full-time study or apprenticeship. Or for a few students, it can be also sometimes continuous education if you have worked more than 3 years before and want to go back to your studies. So you have to mention that in your application, and then that's something that we discuss with the candidates during the interviews, and sometimes during the interview we change that format. So what you put in your file is not fixed. It's something that is up for discussion, and then when we give the results, we give results for an admission, and that's results that are for one track and for one specific format, and then that is set. A few more words, and then we will take some questions. Some elements about the jobs you can do after. We have really a great diversity of profiles coming in, so that's something that we find as well out in terms of jobs. You can imagine the different types of possibilities given the range of disciplines that we welcome. Our students do work in small studios, large fashion houses. It can be also in the supply chain, in consulting. Most of the students do work in fashion afterwards. A few of them decide to go to other fields, but it's quite rare. And this year it's a bit more difficult because the market is clearly not easy. So for the students, it takes more time to find the jobs after they finish their degree, but we have seen that they are confident and they receive some good news after several months. So it's a bit longer, but it works, and there are some nice opportunities, even if, well, we clearly know that the market right now is tough for everyone. Some elements about the application, and with one very important information is that we have only one application session this year. We had 2 before, now we have only one. So applications are until March 13, and that's it. We have only that session. So it's really the time now to apply if you want to. You've got all the information on our website. It's also here on the slides, but it's exactly what you have detailed on the website. We have some language requirements in English and in French. Note that the degree is fully in English, but we do use French for some events like the Collectif d'Experts, and also for some of the visits that we do in the industry. Most of them, we try to do them in English, but sometimes it's not possible. And then we do it in French because we believe it's important to be in connection with our local ecosystem. And for the collaborative projects, it's the same as well. It will depend on the companies with which we connect. And most of the time, the final presentation is in French for those collaborative projects. So English is the main language, but we also require that basic level of French, at least to understand French. And for the personal project, the students have the choice. They can do it either in English or in French. The documents that you have to provide are quite classic to upload everything on the platform, and then we will do the interviews for selected candidates at the end of March and beginning of April. One information that is also on the website, but it has been put recently because this is something new, is that thanks to our program, sponsorship program, Chère Filière Textile Responsable, that we set up last year, we have set up a call for an excellence scholarship that is dedicated to students whose fiscal residence is outside of European Union. So if that's your case, you can have a look to the call, and this may be of interest for you. And the deadline is exactly the same as for the application for the master's degree, but the application has to be sent to the chair with the email that is referenced in the call. So thank you for your attention for this presentation, and we will now take your questions. So either in the chat or directly you can raise your hand as well to mention it orally. And the tradition is that we let the students answer the questions first, and then if it's more something administrative, then we will answer as well the questions.
Yes,
Yes,
please.
Jules?
Oui, bonjour. C'est possible de vous poser la question en français?
Oui,
Oui,
Oui.
oui. Oui, je voulais savoir, en fait, je suis actuellement du coup en recherche moi, de M1 et je voulais intégrer ce master-là en M2. Et je voulais savoir si vous acceptiez seulement les profils venant de PSL ou si c'était vraiment divers.
Oui, je peux répondre, c'est très divers d'un point de vue background créa. Il n'y a pas que des gens de PSL, hein. Effectivement, moi, l'école de chimie que j'ai faite, c'est celle de Montpellier. Voilà, il y a des gens qui ont fait des DNMAD à Lyon, des gens qui ont fait du Perret en créa. Qu'est-ce qu'on peut citer d'autre? Oui, non, c'est assez large, donc non. Non, le fait d'être PSL n'est pas du tout restrictif à ce niveau-là. Pas du tout.
Ok, très bien. En fait, je posais la question parce que j'avais vu sur le site du coup, qu'il y avait un nouveau master de recherche en sciences et organisation et qu'il y avait aussi cette possibilité-là d'intégrer le M1 en sciences d'organisation et le M2 de le combiner avec le Mode Matière. Mais je voulais savoir si c'était seulement cette option-là qui était possible ou si on pouvait aussi venir d'un autre M1 et juste postuler en M2 seulement pour le Mode Matière.
Alors, je vais peut-être du coup répondre pour la suite de cette question. Le Master Research in Management, c'est vraiment une option parmi d'autres. Et donc, c'est une possibilité pour des étudiants qui sont intéressés par la recherche pour faire un M1 et demander une présélection pour notre M2, puisque en fait, le Master Mode Matière fait partie des parcours de M2 qui sont rattachés au programme gradué de management et donc à ce parcours de recherche. Mais c'est vraiment une option parmi d'autres. Et donc, c'est soit pas ou très peu d'étudiants qui viennent de ce master qui est très spécifique. On va avoir une ou deux, voilà, il y a une ou deux étudiantes là qui sont réfléchies, par exemple, pour l'année prochaine. Et après, en fait, nos étudiants viennent vraiment de partout. Il y a une très grande diversité de profils et tout le master est basé sur cette diversité. Vraiment, on compose un collectif et les étudiants viennent de PSL ou d'ailleurs. Et le plus important pour choisir votre master 1, c'est de faire un master 1 en fait, qui correspond à la spécialisation que vous avez envie de faire, aux compétences que vous avez envie d'acquérir d'un point de vue professionnel et vraiment choisir votre master 1 en fonction de ça et pas en fonction d'une hypothèse sur qu'est-ce qui serait préféré dans notre master 2 comme spécialisation, puisque par principe, en fait, on accueille un grand nombre de disciplines et on recherche cette diversité. Donc vraiment, le Master 1, il faut le choisir en fonction de votre intérêt et souhait de spécialisation.
Ok, très bien, merci beaucoup.
There's also a question in the chat I saw
Yes.
that was maybe a bit similar to what just have been said. But to the question is how to ensure admission to the master program, what type of student are you looking for? As Colette said, I know the more diverse, the better. I would say that the more important is that you still need to get a bit of interest in fashion, have a project, be convinced, know where you want to go. But as long as you can link it with responsible fashion, textile, that you can feel that you have a bit of passion about it, it's okay, even if you come from, I don't know, economical background. Like we have some people that basically studied economics for the whole bachelor and that are now in apprenticeship at Ralph Lauren, not doing economics at all. So depends really about what you want to do. I don't know if Baptiste, you have something to add.
No, I agree. I think the only important thing is to really show a part of you, really show who you are and why you're dedicated to fashion and why it's interesting for you. You don't need to put on any mask to get into an AMOMA. The only thing that you have to do is to show what are your interests and what do you want to do with this degree? Go ahead, Emma. There's another question.
Oui, bonjour. Alors en fait, moi j'ai une question surtout par rapport au programme, aux différentes trajectoires possibles. En fait, je suis hyper intéressée par les deux trajectoires et je voulais surtout pour le M2 du coup, et je voulais savoir si le programme du coup Transformations, qui est plutôt axé du coup, enfin complètement création, si on vient donc d'un profil plutôt management, j'ai compris que c'était possible de postuler à celui-ci, mais après que c'était complètement une discussion avec les directeurs de master, mais je voulais savoir si pour postuler à cette trajectoire-là, il fallait avoir un projet très concret en tête en avance, enfin, par exemple pour les entretiens ou à la rentrée, ou alors est-ce que c'est aussi possible de rejoindre, du coup, avec des compétences différentes de la création additionnelle, un groupe pour travailler sur des projets créatifs? Voilà.
Ok.
Je sais pas si c'était clair, mais
Oui, très clair. Je vais peut-être
C'est clair.
te répondre en premier parce que j'étais exactement dans le même cas que toi quand j'ai postulé à l'INAMOMA. En fait, j'hésitais entre les deux parcours. J'ai postulé au parcours transformation, qui est le parcours créatif. Et en fait, lors de l'entretien
ok.
avec Colette Daria, on a convenu que j'allais
Oui.
suivre le parcours exploration parce qu'il correspondait plus rationnel, le M1ID. Moi, quand j'avais postulé, j'avais pas de projet extrêmement défini. J'avais des idées, j'avais un thème, j'avais un peu une direction. C'est pas la peine d'avoir un projet extrêmement précis. Ce qu'il faut montrer, c'est ce qui t'intéresse en général, pour qu'on apprenne aussi à te connaître. Mais le choix de ton parcours, ça va vraiment être une discussion. Voilà. Mais j'espère que
Ok,
ça
très bien.
répond à peu près à ta
Ouais.
question. Peut-être que Léandre, tu vas ajouter
Oui.
quelque chose.
Non, oui. Oui, voilà. Effectivement, pour prendre un peu plus proche de ta question, c'est effectivement mieux d'avoir un projet. Enfin, il y a plus de chances d'être prise après dans ce parcours-là si tu as quelque chose de très, très défini. Mais je dirais qu'il y a suffisamment d'espace dans le master après pour que si jamais ils se développent des choses dans ta tête ou que tu as envie de creuser un peu, voilà, comme j'ai dit, ça peut être un peu dense, surtout sur l'apprentissage. Mais si tu as la motivation, bah, ça se fait. Ça se fait.
Oui, c'est ça. Ça faisait partie aussi de ma question parce qu'en fait, du coup, moi, dans l'idéal, j'aimerais beaucoup postuler à la formation d'alternance en M2.
Mhm. Mhm.
Et du coup, je me demandais aussi comment est-ce que donc, en fait, au deuxième semestre, il n'y a pas de cours, enfin, c'est vraiment 100% création au deuxième semestre pour se dédier au projet, en fait, c'est ça? Et du coup,
Moins.
toutes les tranches de cours sont dédiées à. Donc, le jeudi et le vendredi est dédié à la création.
C'est ça. On tend vers ça.
Ouais,
Il y a
c'est
quand même
ça.
parfois encore 2-3 temps
Avec,
et puis
ouais.
des temps de cadrage.
Mm.
Enfin, Colette, je
Mm.
laisse répondre, mais oui, c'est l'idée.
Ouais, tout à fait, c'est ça, mais avec un temps de tutorat par contre toutes les semaines. Donc, c'est-à-dire qu'il y a une présence sur place, des contacts avec les tuteurs, des contacts aussi avec les autres étudiants qui sont dans la trajectoire. Mais les 6 mois sont vraiment dédiés à ce projet. Et donc, du coup, on va aussi regarder pour cette trajectoire, il faut que vous ayez envie de vivre, respirer et être à fond dans un projet très précis pendant 6 mois. Donc, il n'est pas nécessaire au moment de la candidature d'avoir un projet déjà ultra précis et complètement défini, puisqu'évidemment, le premier semestre aussi permet de travailler à cette définition. Mais il faut quand même avoir déjà un peu l'idée et l'envie de faire quelque chose de très spécialisé autour de ce projet et de tout concentrer là-dessus. C'est ce qui amène aussi parfois du coup les étudiants à plutôt choisir la trajectoire exploration où il va y avoir un travail personnel important, mais aussi des temps collectifs à travers le projet collaboratif. Puis après, il y a aussi dans la trajectoire de transformation, il y a une dimension, on l'appelle projet créatif aussi, dans le sens où il va y avoir une dimension de scénographie, de mise en image, qui va être assez forte. Donc, on accueille quelques étudiants qui ont des profils à la base non créa, c'est tout à fait possible, mais il faut avoir cette volonté aussi de développer cet aspect. Et au-delà de la volonté, vraiment, du coup, le fait de vraiment le faire avec sérieux, ce qui nécessite du temps et beaucoup d'investissement.
D'accord, merci, c'est très clair. Et j'avais une dernière question. Du coup, les espaces de travail, donc par exemple, là, quand vous mentionniez les tutorats encadrés, c'est donc du coup dans les différents espaces, que ce soit Dauphine, les Arts Déco ou les mines, c'est ça?
Alors, pour la trajectoire de transformation, les suivis se passent principalement dans notre espace Enamoma.
Ok,
Donc,
très clair.
ouais, voilà.
Très très clair. Et j'ai une dernière question. J'ai lu en ligne sur les FAQ que en fait, il était possible pour les candidatures d'envoyer notre attestation d'inscription au passage des certificats de langue. Parce qu'en fait, là, moi, je suis à l'étranger, j'ai pas la possibilité de les passer. Je voulais savoir si je m'inscris et que je transmets bien cette inscription, ça ne porte pas préjudice à mon dossier de candidature. Voilà. Je voulais savoir ça.
Domiti, est-ce que je te laisse répondre peut-être? Ouais.
Oui, Emma, vous pouvez tout à fait nous envoyer une attestation sur l'honneur ou une attestation pour montrer votre inscription à un test de langue et nous envoyer le résultat ultérieurement.
Très bien, parfait. Merci beaucoup pour toutes les informations.
Il y avait une autre main levée à un moment, et puis il y a Victor qui demande d'être un peu plus spécifique sur les débouchés du master pour une trajectoire exploration. Alors là, j'ai pas suffisamment de recul, je pense que c'est plutôt la responsable pédagogique. Un truc que je peux t'engager à faire, c'est d'aller voir sur LinkedIn et de prendre les alumni, d'aller voir sur les anciens élèves et de voir un peu ce que font les gens. Alors, ça ne sera pas forcément dit ce qu'ils ont fait exactement d'un point de vue exploration, mais souvent, c'est des gens qui ont des projets un peu plus créatifs. Donc, ouais, je sais pas si Colette ou Daria, vous avez des exemples précis en tête.
Oui, bah, je peux. Alors, c'est effectivement ce que je vous indiquais, très varié. Donc, on en a pas mal qui vont travailler en maison. Ça peut être dans les ateliers, en studio, dans des départements au siège RSE, au niveau de la production, au niveau du sourcing, au niveau du développement de collection, par exemple. Après, il y en a qui vont plutôt qui partent dans des structures de conseil, pas forcément spécifiques à la mode. Ça peut aussi être des structures de conseil général autour du développement durable, de la RSE, orientées communication ou consulting en organisation, stratégie. Il y en a qui vont aller plutôt. Il y a aussi pas mal d'étudiants qui font du freelance, notamment pour les profils design, donc ils peuvent travailler pour des maisons ou pour des plus petites structures, mais davantage en freelance plutôt qu'en tant qu'employés. Et puis aussi qui partent sur des projets entrepreneuriaux. On a aussi des étudiants qui vont en thèse. On en a eu deux l'année dernière, par exemple, d'autres qui souhaitent poursuivre cette année. Ça peut être des thèses en management, design, ingénierie. Là aussi, on retrouve les trois possibilités. Et au-delà de ces trois possibilités, en fait, il y a plein de champs de recherche impossibles derrière. Même d'ailleurs, on a eu une thèse, par exemple, l'année dernière, bidisciplinaire en sciences des matériaux et sociologie, qui s'est mise en place. D'autres étudiants qui parfois décident aussi de poursuivre avec des études complémentaires. Alors j'en oublie sans doute, mais voilà, c'est assez varié. Certains qui partent aussi dans d'autres secteurs, au niveau du textile en fait, mais appliqués à d'autres secteurs comme l'automobile par exemple. Je crois qu'il y avait tout à l'heure Sifan Zhang. Il y avait une question. Mais...
Hello. I come from China. I come
Yes.
from China, and
Yeah.
I want to ask for some question about the specialty. I don't know if I if I can write the emails to make sure the information what I have heard of just now. Because it's the first time I know about the school, and I want to know how to make the time plan and send the can you give me email address to make sure the information, because I can't find enough information about how to send the data of myself.
I've wrote in the conversation the email address you can use if you prefer to write us an email and check the question you have, if it's easier for you. Can you see the address in the conversation?
See the address of the conversation.
Yeah. enamoma@psl.eu.
And it's also on the slide that is just presented, and it's on our website. And we do have some Chinese students who follow our program, and I know also that a lot of candidates do contact our students directly, sometimes through Instagram or through LinkedIn. And sometimes if you come from abroad, it can be nice to engage with students coming from your country. They can also give you a lot of information. So that's also a possibility to help you get more information. But do not hesitate to send message to enamoma@psl.eu. We do answer a lot of requests on that email. And we know also that our students do receive a lot of questions through different channels.
The system of education is different of China, so I can understand I should the master diploma, how to get the diploma of the master. If I should to write a paper or I need to do a stage, I can understand, and I'm not sure of this. And I have contact PSL, but I want to make a template about how much about the level of I'm sorry, the motivation letter and the CV and the license of the language, and I want to sure about the important things I must know. So I want to get an email address, and I want to write a point. I want to write a paper about the things, and I want to know, and I want to send the paper to you, and if you can help me to clear of it.
Well, that's the email that we just put in the conversation, and that is on the website, and that is on the slide. That's really the email you can contact to get more information about the application, motivation letter, what is expected. If you have questions about the language certificate, all that you can write us to this email address, and we do answer all the requests.
Can you write it down in Teams, because
it's already
very difficult to get the website.
It's already it's already there on Teams, and it's on the slides, and it's on our website. So many possibilities to find it.
So much. Oh, okay, I will find it. And all I will find is merci beaucoup.
Is there any other question? Est-ce qu'il y a d'autres questions? Well, we have reached the end of this session. Thank you very much for your attention. And as just mentioned, if you have some further questions, do not hesitate to contact us. We'll be happy to answer any questions. And do not forget that there is only one application this year, so until March 13. Thank you. Good evening.
Bye, good evening.
Bye-bye. Have a good evening. Ciao.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you, Leandre Baptiste, for being there.